So, guys, welcome to the ServiceNow Business Analyst Bootcamp. This is the second session today. We have with our principal mentor, Nishant. He is going to lead the way, and we just completed the first session on Monday. If you have not received those recordings by any chance, please reach out to us, text us. We will send you those recordings to you. We are offering the first three sessions complimentary Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And by this weekend, you should make your decision to start with us. ServiceNow Bootcamp, Business Analyst Careers in High Demand. And you will go 0 to 100 with us. And by end of this bootcamp, you will be job ready and you will be able to do this project. Okay. All right. And I'll leave the floor to Nishant and you can start the session, brother. Go ahead.
Thank you, Satish. I'm welcoming everyone. And first session is, wherein we understood about BA, what are roles and responsibility, what is BA, what is actually ServiceNow Business Analyst. And now we would want to go ahead and check our next session, which is about project. What exactly is a project in ServiceNow domain? Let me first hide this floating meeting control. Okay. So here in this next first session, we understood, I'll bring my Excel here when I'll keep mentioning all the information that I want to share with you. First, we understood about BA, its roles and responsibility, what exactly he does or she does, and what all deliverables they are there, what all phases are there. Now in the next, where exactly these roles and responsibilities will be applicable. So there are projects which are in the ServiceNow space we want to work in as a ServiceNow BA. So I'll start with my first slide, which is about what is the project's life cycle. First, this project, these phases might be more relevant for IT, but same can be implemented for non-IT domain as well. For example, a project they have a structured path right from starting to the end part to the when it is completed. There are various paths, like first is your initiation phase, then you have planning phase, then you have execution phase, then there is monitoring and control, there is closure. Okay, so as a BA, you need to understand when you are entering into the project. See, there can be, it's not that, you are part of a project and then a project will be starting from initiation phase only. There can be chances that maybe you are joining a project and maybe you're joining the project at planning phase. There can be a scenario you are joining a project as execution. And there can also be a scenario that maybe the project has not started and you will be starting from the initiation phase. So at any point you are part of a project, it is very important for you to understand what is the current phase of the project, right? On the basis, when you understand that, right now, suppose you are in planning. So, initiation is done. So you would want that information. Until unless you do not understand what phase the project is in, you will not be able to ask the right questions, right? So today we want to discuss about a project lifecycle. What is software development lifecycle? What are the different activities performed in these phases, and who all will be the stakeholders, right? So this is a typical phase for any of the project, and now we'll see what is the role of a BA in each of these phases. Okay, so before even going that, I would want to first mention that the project types. Okay, a project can be a small project, it can be a medium project. When I say small, medium, and large, it means the duration. Small, it can be like 3 months to 4 months. And then there can be a medium scale project wherein it might go to 6 to 8 months. And there can be a large project that, it is going for maybe 12 months to 18 months. And there are various types, right? First is, the duration. And then second is based on like if it is an implementation project, I'll teach you everything, like what is implementation project, right? And then there can be a project wherein you are migrating. We call it migrations. And then third type is your support project. We'll understand now what exactly are the different meanings of this project. Implementation project means, suppose there is a company called ABC, and this company is not having ServiceNow today. Okay. And they want to implement ServiceNow. They want to bring ServiceNow. So here you are building ServiceNow from scratch, from ground zero. I'll call it ground zero. So when something is not there in the environment of any of the company and you are building on top of it, then you call the implement. You have implemented ServiceNow, right? Migration is something maybe in one environment there can be, ServiceNow is there, maybe some other part is being used and now you want to migrate, or maybe there are some legacy systems and now you want to use that ServiceNow there. So then it is called a migration project. You are migrating from legacy system to ServiceNow. This is called migration project. Okay. Now third project is support project. Support means ServiceNow is already implemented and you're supporting. By supporting, I mean is that this is same like ServiceNow has been built. Now there are certain enhancement. Maybe you want to add something, or you want to enhance something, you want to add something. There can be certain parts of ServiceNow you do not want to use, or you want to bring in automation. You want to improve ServiceNow. So that is all part of your support project. Or maybe there are some defects in the implementation that you have done. Over the course of time you realize that there are things that you do not require, there are additional things that are required, right? So this is, we call it a ServiceNow support project. So typically you will be part of any of these project, right? So first is the type of project, like what kind of work it is, and then even in here as well there is a different type on the basis of duration. Like implementation, it can be a short implementation. Maybe you will finish it in 3 months. It can be a medium duration implementation, might take 6 to 8 months or maybe 1 year. When it is going above 1 year, then it is a large implementation. And how this is decided? This is decided on the, uh, this is my company's footprint. When I say company's footprint, I want to understand like what is the size of the company, like the scope. For example, if the company is like what is the user base, and how many sites are there, what is the spread of the company. For example, it is for one nation, one country, it is for multiple countries. So depending on that, these things will be derived. But for you, when you are joining a project, you need to understand which project are you in? Like, is it an implementation project? It's a migration project or a support project? And then you want to understand what is the phase of that project. Okay. So first part is, suppose I am working on the small. I'm taking one example. Like it's a small project. Maybe you will finish it off in 3 to 4 months. So you would want to understand your and basis on these duration, or it will be divided into this timeline. Right? There can be first initiation phase, planning design phase, then execution phase, monitoring phase, and closure phase. First, I want to discuss about initiation. In initiation, very first phase, I want to identify business goals. I want to define scope. I want to understand stakeholders. Right. So whenever you are part of a project, like out of this, suppose I have uh, the type is my implementation. I'll mark it as green. And in implementation, I have a maybe a small implementation of 3 to 4 months. Okay. Now this we have understood. And now suppose this is my day one in this project, and I am starting with initiation phase. In initiation, what I want to understand is who are my stakeholders? So just a quick question so that we know that from the last class you were active and you were listening. So far, whatever we have discussed, what do you think are the stakeholders you know from the previous session? Can anyone answer the question?
I think stakeholders are the ones
Mhm.
who gives us the business needs or the are like an active part of the project.
Great, thank you.
Clients, yeah.
So you can call it a client,
Yeah.
right? And then second, stakeholder. Okay, for those who do not know what is stakeholder is a person who will be part of your project in any of the form. It can, okay, I'll not answer the question. Stakeholders are the person who are part of your project, right? Directly or indirectly. So, right, this is also right. Jayaprakash, you're right. Everyone is stakeholder, including us. So when I say us, I'll include myself, I'll include my development team. Then there is, okay, pardon my mistake. There is development team, correct. Technical team is there, client side is there, and you can also involve leadership because you will have to inform them what you are doing. On a high level, they just want to make decisions. Okay, if there is a short project going on for 4 months, what is the status right now? Correct. Project manager is also there. Okay. So in the initiation phase, the first thing you want to do is to wait, where is, can you see my screen? Okay, sorry. So in the initiation phase, you want to understand your stakeholders, right? Then second, you want to understand what are the scope of services. So this is where I was referring to, that you want to understand the scope. Okay, so scope will be like informed to you by the clients. I mean, this I'll have a session on it, how to identify scope. But for now, just understand scope is where actually you want to deliver services or what exactly you want to work in this project. So that is your scope. And then you want to understand stakeholders as done. So in scope itself, you will be having your business goals, like why do you want to have this project, and what are the business goals, what are the pain points. So all of this you want to understand in your initiation phase. I'll again mark it as in some color for you to remember. This is my initiation phase. So it's called onboarding of the project. You will be onboarded into the project, right? And then comes here, and here in the initiation phase itself, you will be having uh, documents given to you, that maybe you want to work on these documents, and from there you will be finding the scope, that this is what you need to do. I'll have breakdown of all of these phases in the upcoming session, but right now I'm just covering high level overview so that you understand what is the meaning of project, what are the phases of project. So in the initiation phase, you just want to understand business goals, define scope, understand stakeholders. Then comes my planning and design. So based on my initial phase, wherein I have discussed who are my stakeholders, what is my scope, I'll call it initiation and planning. So based on these information, I will be with my as in BA with development and technical team would start working on how we are going to fulfill this requirement. As in, you will be creating a design, and then you will prepare. Remember in the first class we discussed about BRD and FRD. So you will be creating these process here. Here you will be able to understand what is my as is process, and here you will start working on to be process. You might be able to create user stories, right? As correct. You're right. You're right, Jayaprakash. That's business requirement document. and FRD is functional requirement document. That is your planning phase, right? So you have created a path for the developers that this is what you need to do. So after planning phase is done, there will be certain sessions with the customer, like discovery session. I'll teach everything what all sessions are there. Discovery sessions are the sessions wherein you want to get on the call with the client and you want to discuss what all things have been there. You might be having questions. You want to understand more details about the scope of services. You want to discuss more about what they need, what are their pain points. From there, you will gather those details, and those details will be beneficial for you to carve out this to be process. And from this to be, you will be able to create user stories. And not to mention that here you will be also creating a process diagram. And how to create a process diagram, as in how to create these diagrams, we'll also see those diagrams in one of the session. Let me put it here. Process diagrams, right? And I'll take one example wherein I'll show you how to create one diagram, and any same can be replicated with you in your assignments and tomorrow when you're going into the project. Then comes, after you have designed like what would be the user stories and what is the process diagram, then comes your execution phase. In execution, here your development team will be active. They will start doing the development. Development is actually working on these user stories and creating small components, right? Once development is done, you will be doing internal testing. Internal testing. Internal testing is whatever has been, suppose I have a user stories that I want to create a login page, and I'll give you one example, short example. This is suppose I want to create a login page for Gmail, and in Gmail, I have first is username and then I have password. Okay. So the user story is that as a user, I should come here, I should enter my username and my password, and I should be able to log in. Okay. So in development testing here, once development is done, then you will be doing an internal testing. I'll come to the UAT part as well. For now, in execution, you just want to confirm that, this is working or not working, right? So this is where you want to understand um all this part, of, can we, for a moment, let me just stop this. Just give me a moment. I'll take all of your questions and we'll cover all of your queries, right? So in development and testing, this is what you want to do, that you want to create a username, password. Suppose this development is done. And now in testing, that you would want to test whether it is working or not working. This is called internal testing. Before even going for a UAT, you want to do an internal testing. And how do you perform this development? There are certain processes. There is a methodology called Scrum. For now, these terms might be new to you. Just keep remembering these terms. In the upcoming session, I will be covering these terms. What is user stories? What is Scrum? How to create a process diagram? BRD, FRD, I can share one template with you. I can tell you what all TOC. TOC is your table of content. Like what all content will be there, how to write it. I can share one small session with you. I think that will be enough for you to write a PRT and FRT. Okay. And then in execution, once you have completed this development and testing, then you move to the next part, which is called monitoring, right? Here, you would want to understand what all requirements were gathered here. All of them have been captured here or not. This is where we call the RTM. RTM is your requirement traceability matrix. And how to create a RTM, I'll also show you how to create a RTM. It's a simple one, but then just to give you an example, I'll show you that how to write RTM as well, right? For now, just understand that once here you have understood what is the project all about. In planning, you have started, designing the project, and then in execution, you have actually started development in the project. And in monitoring phase, you want to check what all requirements were given to you and have they been created or not created. Once it is done, then you move to the next part, which is your closure part. I would not call that it ends here, but since we were working on an implementation project, which is for a small duration, so in the last part is your closure. Closure means you will be having a UAT session wherein there will be UAT is called user acceptance testing. There are some users, business users from the client side, who would want to come and test these requirements, whatever you have developed. So for that, you will be creating test scenarios. So as a BA, you will be mentioning that what all scenarios you want to test. And then a test cases will be developed. So the job of BA is to create the test scenarios, and then your testers can write the test cases, and those test cases will be performed by UAT. From here on, there will be certain feedback coming in from the users that, we want this or we do not want this, or maybe there can be some defects that some of the user stories are not working, requirements are not working. So you will be working on those feedback, you will be fixing those defects, and once that part is done, you will receive a sign off that we are good with this complete requirement what has been given to us in the initiation phase, and you have received a sign off from the customer that this is good and we are good to close this project. When we say close this project, it means this project will move to our prod environment and it will be given to the real users who will be using this project, and will be reaping all the whatever goals we have decided that from this project I want business should be able to connect to the user. They should be able to maybe if in this case that there will be many users who will be coming and logging into their account, there is no issues. So all of those things once go into the prod environment will be taken care by uh, say, of this complete project life cycle. So this is a quick information and quick project phases. So in all of these, there you have received a UAT, you have received a sign off. There's a post implementation, and after you have completed the sign off, as in this project is there in the prod, so then you might be having a hypercare support for maybe 2 weeks or 4 weeks. I'll call it 4 weeks. Here, you want to, in case in prod, suppose they're using it, they're facing some error, even in the real environment. If they're facing some error, there are something is not working, then you want to fix it on the spot. You want to fix it quickly. Once this is done, then this project is ready and can be go on autopilot mode. As in, it's ready, it's working perfectly. Whatever the objective was there, it has been achieved, and it is working for the uh, real uh, person who are actually going to use it. So this is all about your project lifecycle. This is a quick summary how a project really works. And from now on, we will be taking all of these things in detail, like BRD, FRD, how to create process diagram, how to create a user stories, what all stakeholders are there, how to go for a sign off, right? What is RTM, requirement traceability metrics. In UAT, what all things you will do, how to write a test case, what are the test scenarios. So this is all we will be covering in the upcoming sessions. But if I go to the next part, this is usually for any of the project, right? Mostly the project will run like this. But once you go into, if I tell you like software development lifecycle, what exactly are the different phases? It's same here only, but this is how the structuring happens, how a software is developed and it is maintained. So these are those phases. First is your requirement gathering session, wherein you want to gather all the possible requirements, you want to understand their SOPs, and then what is their current way of working, how they're delivering today, what all challenges are there, what all pain points are there. Now you can map with this all of these software development lifecycle process, right? All of these phases. So requirement gathering is this initiation phase where you want to understand the stakeholders, you want to understand their scope, business goals, what all documents are there, right? This is called requirement gathering. And there are discovery sessions as well. Then comes your analysis phase, analysis and design. Analysis and design is your this part wherein you want to first analyze what are the requirements, how to create, you will start doing the 2B diagram, process diagram. You will be start creating functional requirement document. Then in the design phase, you will be creating user stories. Once that part is done, then development start. Development is all about wherein there will be. Okay, right now I'll write one more thing, sprints and agile. How do you want to deliver the project? That is also one topic that you need to understand that I'm covering in my next slide. So how do you do the testing? It can follow a sprint. As in, for 2 weeks, I want to complete these requirements, and then I want to share the information from the leadership team, from the client side. That's why we have completed this part, we have completed this much part, and then 100% development is done. Now we're moving on to the testing phase. So in execution phase, you want to first work on the development part, and then testing is all about uh, this UAT part, wherein you want to write the test scenarios, test cases. The testing will be done by UAT testers, and they will provide a feedback. Once this is done, you received a sign off that this requirement is good to go into the project. Then you will be deploying. Deploy is actually wherein it is directly going into the prod environment, right? And after it goes into the product, into the prod environment, then you have maintenance. Maintenance something which is this support project. Support project are also called maintenance project. Maintenance means, suppose now you have created this requirement. Maybe you have created a small application, and that application has been built. It is implemented. Now there can be certain, maybe there is some issues or you want to upgrade something. This usually happens with any of the project. Or if I take very real example, suppose you are owner of a business. Okay. You have a small you have a small business of a restaurant, and you have created a website that you can, or maybe you have created an app which is your ordering app. So through this app you can order. Now first part is implementation. That a working Can we please go on mute if you're not speaking? Okay. So this is called implementation, wherein a fully functional app is ready. But even after your app is ready, there can be certain, like first is maintenance, that you want to upgrade its database or you want to add more features. So all of those are part of your maintenance, or you can call it that all of them are part of your support part, right? So after this part is done, there can be a support phase as well. So in support, you just want to see like there can be admins, there can be uh, uh, usually it is taken care by admins who can do your basic stuffs. Like if some maintenance is required, you want to delete something, you want to add something. So that part is covered in your maintenance. Okay. Now as a BA, see if I'll give you very simple one very good there was a picture, I need to find it, but this is how it works. So this is your BA, this is your developer, this is your testers, right? And you can call it, we have architects and we have project managers. Okay. And here are your phases. Okay. March. And then this is your second phase. Okay. Now, do you see there are, I'll break down any project of SDLC in these 7 types. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So first 3 phase, requirement gathering, analysis, and design. So this is 1, 2, 3. And now I'll show you the level of input or the contribution from the different members. Okay. And now, okay, this is phase 1, 2, 3, and phase 4 to 7. Testers. See, do you see this starting part? That when you are into this starting phase, requirement gathering, analysis, and design, BA is the one taking your developer, tester, architect, and project manager, that what exactly we need to do. Once you are through to this part, that you have understood what is the requirement, you have understood, what needs to be done, you have created a design, what is the functional, what is the to be state, what is the future mode of operation, how we are going to work on this project. This is where, if I call the starting part of any of the project, and this is my second phase. Second phase is wherein development actually start, testing, start deployment, maintenance. Here you just need to monitor, what all. Okay, I'll put it here. Here also, it's a major contribution from the PA side. But in the starting phase, you are actually defining the project. And in the second phase, you have these developer, testers, architects, project managers who are going to help you. They will deliver project for you. So this part is for the BA doing the maximum contribution. And the second part, it will be developers and tester taking most of the requirements, most of the work on their head, then they will be completing it. You just want to ensure that the requirements that you have designed here, that what needs to be worked, are being actually developed and they have been tested. Once that is done, it is easy for you for the upcoming journey of taking the sign off from the customer and actually deploying it into the prod, and even after that. So this is a quick uh, you know uh, quick overview how a SDLC work. Now, as I was explaining here, that whenever you are in this phase of development and testing, how it works, this development, how we go to the testing phase and all, there is a method. How do you run a project, right? The first method, or the older legacy method that has been used from since ages, and right now even it is used, but it is used only in 5% or 10% of the project. But most of the time, there is a replacement of waterfall, which is called agile. Agile has, dominated, and agile has completely replaced waterfall. But before you understand agile, first you want to understand what exactly is a waterfall model. So waterfall model will follow the same phases what we just discussed in the previous slide, that it will have requirement gathering, analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, maintenance. If I show you that first is your requirement phase, then there is a design phase, then you move to the development phase, After that, you move to testing, you move to deployment, then you move to maintenance. But all of these phases are going in a sequential manner. Suppose you have taken the requirement, you move to design phase. After you have done the design, you move to development phase. After you have completed development, you move to testing. From testing, you move to deployment, and from deployment, once it is done, you move to maintenance. Okay. Now I have a question. Any one of you, do you see any challenge when we are moving from requirement to design, we are moving to development, then we move to testing, deployment, maintenance? Do you think will there be any issue with that? Yes, Ikra.
Yeah, so if you need to make a change, it becomes like almost impossible to change it because you can't go back. It's like you can only do it by step. You can't like do a little of development, a little of deployment. You have to do it step by step only, and you can't proceed to like next step until you've completed the first one. So it
Perfect.
causes a lot of limitation.
Perfect. Perfect. I think that is a perfect answer because suppose you have here, you have said that maybe you need the 10 requirements needs to be worked on. So you've created a design, then you move to development. But once you move to development, you start realizing that 10 requirements are fine. But when I'm working on those 5 requirements, I think I need to tweak some requirement and I need one more requirement. That is a dependent requirement. So here you realize that there are not 10, there are 11 requirements. So now you cannot go back to the previous one. According to the waterfall model, the new requirement that is coming up here will be going into the next release. Release, now one word. See, there are certain words that I'm highlighting, right? Like here, this RTM, this UAT I've discussed, and then sprint I have discussed. Here I've discussed this PRD, FRD, user stories, discovery session, TOC, and test cases, test scenarios, and then RTM is done. Sign off, right? So, okay, release is basically the sprints of how many? Perfect. So, there is this phase. So, release is suppose in one go, you want to release a set of requirements, right? You've already committed, then in release, I want to work on 10 requirements, right? But when you're working on it, you realize that maybe I require 2 more requirements. So according to waterfall, you will not be including those requirements in the current release. You would say that I will take those 2 requirements in the next release. So maybe the current release is I'll call release 1, and then in release 2, I'll add those requirements and then it will be delivered in the next. So if there is one important feature that has to be delivered in this phase, and ideally, if I'm taking that a small project is taking where is it? It is taking 3 to 4 months. And now imagine in the next release, if I am going after 3 months, so I'll have to wait for another 3 months to get the those new features of 2 requirements. So that is one challenge with waterfall model. It is rigid that you cannot go back and it's a documentation heavy. You will have to create a lot of documentation, right? So the few documents which we discussed, BRD, FRD, user stories, and everything, I can tell you, few of your project when you will be part of, they might not even ask you to work on this BRD, FRD. It totally depends on the client. So client will be coming up. There will be a section in your project which is called deliverables. DELIVERABLES. And this is one question you need to ask in the initiation phase. What are the deliverables of this project, right? There are certain deliverables that BA has to provide. There are certain deliverables that architect will provide. And there are certain deliverables that developer will do. and some will be developed by project manager and maybe a tester as well. Okay. Now, what are those deliverables? I have a session for it, but just on a quick note, BA would be delivering FRD or maybe BRD, and he might be asked to deliver user stories and process diagrams. And in some cases, they might ask you to do a RTM, and the last part is training material. Training material. Okay. And then architect will be creating a technical design document. Development will be asked to create all the, all the configuration that he is using. Those are ServiceNow related. You will come to know about those configurations in the later point of time. But it is more about whatever you have developed, like all the scripts you have used, all the functionalities you have used, ServiceNow specific, that developer has to deliver. But the main part of developer is to deliver a working prototype or a working product. So the product should be working. If he's delivering this product, everything is taken care. But he's not the only one delivering it. There are contributions from the BA, architect, PM, testers, but mainly because he's developing it, he needs to provide a working product. Now, there are certain parts that architect will verify whether this is viable or not viable, following the best practices, and it is as per the architecture of the complete client's environment. BA will verify that the requirements are covered or not, right? And testers will see whether it is working fine or not. And then PM will have their different job. It is more related about the resources, about the budget, right? All the financial part he will be taking care, and duration and everything. So that is not with us. So we can skip this part. PM will have their own deliverables. Then testers might be having deliverables. In case of, like, if you have performed test cases, please share those results with me. So tomorrow, if I want to see whether that functionality is working or not working, I can follow these things. Michael, I am having these sessions planned in the next week. I will be having quick demos on each of these points, how a BRT looks like, how a user story looks like. So be assured that all of these, I'll tell you that what is the template to write a user story, and how to write BRD, and how to create diagram, right? I will show you in the class itself how to work on it. For now, I just want to cover how a project looks like. Okay. So this is it about your, so all the deliverables are there, right? So, okay, this is done, this is done, this is done. Right, we were here, advantages, that it is documentation heavy, right? Then limitation is, it is, if there is some mid change in the project, you cannot work it out. It is only the next release you'll have to wait. So in older ServiceNow implementation, waterfall was common, but nowadays we have moved to Agile. And we'll cover Agile in the next class. But if I tell you the different types of meeting that you will be part of a project, in the initial, when you are part of the initiation phase, I'll again come back here. You will be having a kickoff meeting, right? In which there will be an introduction. Like you will be introduced to the client, and you want to understand. So as a BA, you want to understand what are the expectations, what are the objectives, right? And this is called kickoff call, when you want to introduce what is the project, you want to define scope, not you, but you want to understand the scope from the client, what they want in this project, what is their expectation. Then you will be having a discovery calls, or we call it workshops, which is part of your initiation. And in this, you want to have a detailed description with the with the SMEs on the client side, with the client, you want to understand their process, you want to gather requirements, right? So here you will be having, you want to understand what are their current documentations, you need some clarifications, okay? Then yours, these meetings will start. There is a daily stand-up meeting or scrum meeting. Daily startup, it is like 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes of meeting, wherein you want to have a meeting with your developers, as in BA developers will be there, BA will be there, and you want to track progress, like how much work has been completed and how much is remaining, what are the bottlenecks. If there is some issues, some blockers, you want to have a separate meeting on those topics. You want to bring in the right SME, right stakeholder. So this is what is all about your daily stand-up meeting. Then there is a leadership or governance meeting. This usually happens on weekly or once in 15 days, wherein you want to tell the update about the project, that this is the status of my project and we have completed 10%, 20%, or number of or the percentage exactly your project has completed. You want to present the progress. You want to present if there is any risk. Suppose it can be from the resource side, maybe resource is not available, you need extra hand, or you want that there is some approvals is pending. So all of those are risks that you want to highlight in this leadership or governance call. Then there are approval meetings. Approval meeting is because they all of these phases, like suppose you have created a process diagram or a to be process, so you want to lock it. When I say lock it, you want to get an approval, because see, all of the deliverables that we have discussed here, so you need to get an approval from the client. If the client is not getting, if they are not giving approval to you, you should not move to the next phase. The downside is that tomorrow, without even approval, if you move to the next phases and client comes to you and claim that I want to make changes or I want to bring in new requirement. So at that point, you will not have any evidence or any base to tell them this is what we agreed on. I will not be able to change anything. So when you bring in change, as in some change in the requirement, there are certain requirements which you can accommodate, and there are certain requirements which takes much effort, which takes more time, right? In that case, you want to provide a solution. You will not be directly accepting those changes. This also, what are all the possible conflicts? What are all the possible scenarios when you might be stuck? We will be covering those part as well. But for now, just understand that there is an approval meeting and you want to confirm on all of those, like whatever solution you have presented, or there is any BRD you have done, or user stories you have written, that you need a confirmation. This is what the user story is. This is what the functionality is. Then UAT sessions. It is about there will be users from the client side and they want to test all the requirements. So your testers will be writing the test cases. If tester is not there, then developer will be writing the test cases. As a BA, you want to tell the scenarios that for this requirement, I want to have these scenarios. Please write test cases. Those test cases will be performed by UAT and you will receive a feedback. After this is done, then you will go to the next phase, and maybe uh, uh, it will go to the deployment, prod, everything is done. Then there can be a closure call. It is called retrospective, wherein you want to understand about captures, what are the lessons you have learned, what all things that went well. If there is um Hi, Henry. Yes, there can be more than one project. If I tie your question to my explanation that I provided in the starting, see, there is a type of project. It can be implementation, migration, support, and then it can be small, medium, large. If there is a small project, but the scope is large, definitely I want 2 or 3 BAs. If the scope is small and also the duration is less, it can be delivered with 1 BA. If so it all depends on few a few factors, that what is the scope what is the duration, and size. Based on this, you will be having a number of resources. Number of resources is equivalent to BA, architect, developers, PM, testers. And I can tell you, I was working with one of the project in which there were 2 BA, there were 3 architects, there were 3 project managers, and there were around 10 to 15 developers. And testers, there were only, I think, three testers. So it totally depends on the size of the project. Okay. And do not worry that who will be telling you all the projects. All of these requirements will be coming from project managers. You remember this kickoff call? Before even this kickoff call starts, this project manager would be aligned on what all resources are needed. If not, then he will be reaching out to the person, he will be arranging the resources, right? So this is what your closure call. So this client might come with you, and client might also share what all went well, what he liked, and what all can be improved. So these are the typical meetings that you will find in a project, right? And if I give you a simple project template, this is how it works. In the initiation phase, you want to understand goals, high level scope, and these are the stakeholders. There will be project manager, there will be business sponsor, and your team. Then in the planning phase, you want to have requirement sessions, you want to create BRD, process flows. Here, you will be having SMEs, or product owner is optional. That totally depends on how customer's environment is defined. There can be a product owner from the customer side. There may not be a product owner, or there may be an architect. So you want to discuss with them, and you want to create BRD, process flows, and everything. Then execution phase, here you will be having your developers and QA. You will be writing user stories. They will be working on those user stories. They will be creating test cases, right? Then monitoring phase, here you want to understand what are the requirement visibility metrics. Have we configured all or not? What are the changes that have been provided to you? Were you able to accommodate those changes or not? Right. Last part is your closure, wherein you want to have a UAT, you want to provide a handover, sign off documents, and this will be closed. So this is on a very high level. This is what a project template is. Now, since we have covered all of these things, like the project life cycle, when a BA works, what all phases are there, right? SDLC, how development actually happens, right? And so today we learned about SDLC in a waterfall model, but I want to mainly focus on the agile framework, because 90 to 95% of the time you will be following this agile framework. So how to work on it, that is what we will be covering in the next session. But before we end this session, I want to have a small activity. I will be needing your help right now. Let me first. Okay. Now, that's a mini assignment. It's your homework as well. You can do it on your own. You should do it on your own. But before that, I want your help. Since all of you must be part of some project, it can be IT, it can be non-IT. I want one volunteer who can answer my questions, and then we'll try to map what all we have discussed today. Okay. So anyone wants to volunteer, I will be asking few questions, and then we'll try to map it with what we have discussed today. Or even if not, then I'll ask questions, you can tell me. Okay. Thank you, Afrin. So can you tell me,
Yeah.
like, you must be part of the project. What all stakeholders do you meet on the daily basis, or maybe on the weekly basis?
Okay, so like the project, the one I'm currently working on is like, we're developing a transportation management application, management
Mm-hmm.
software application. People
Mm-hmm.
from the
Mm-hmm.
supply chain background might be aware of this. So
Mm-hmm.
the main stakeholders, I feel like in my, if for my projects are my business owners, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and our
Mm-hmm.
customers. They are the major
Okay.
stakeholders here.
Correct.
So coming to the what the kind of a project it's so it's like if you are aware of a website called Freightcom or Freighterize, that if
Right,
customer
right,
wants to
right.
move some shipment from here to there. So
Mm-hmm.
they can just do it online. They don't need to call anyone from our company or customer service or anything. They can just put the shipment information in and
Mm-hmm.
just book it off and then get the
Great.
bill and everything. So
Great.
that's what the project is. So
Great.
now I think, can I see your
Mm-hmm.
slide on regards to the mini assignment? So this is a very
Uh,
large business process like project. It's not like we
right.
have like
No, no.
200, 300 orders coming a day right now. Okay. So
Okay,
what
that's
I
fine.
am meeting with,
Just Mm-hmm. Just
yeah,
wanted to understand first, you mentioned about the project, right? It's
yes,
a
right,
small, maybe you mentioned it's a project wherein it involved creating website or application, right? So
yes,
first is you understand the project. Now there can be different parts of it. Maybe right now you are in the building phase, or it is already built and then you are running it. It's an support phase.
yeah, like we're almost moving into the support phase.
Right. So
Mm.
right now you're in the phase when you have almost completed. Maybe you are at the end of getting a sign off that this project is completed and will finish it off, and then it will move to the real users. They will be using it. Right.
Yes.
Now you will be having certain meetings that you would have conducted, that they can be kickoff call. Can you remember any of these meeting?
Yes. So, like for example, the kickoff
Mhm,
meeting was long back. So like I have like discovery calls, I can say,
mhm,
with my
mhm.
business owners regarding,
Right.
like I had discovery calls like every Monday and Friday. Okay.
Right.
I have the calls with my development team telling them the
Right.
requirements of what needs to be in line. Okay, I was like, okay, this page I need this functionality in this page and I did this functionality in this page. So I have that meeting with my development team every Wednesday and Thursday.
Right.
That
And then there
depends.
might be some testing you would have
Yeah,
done,
yeah.
or
So
right?
before the release, like before the
Mm-hmm.
deployment, they do any kind of sprint release or deployment they do. I
Mm-hmm.
make sure that I do like I take build my user stories and do the testings and see okay if I'm placing
Okay.
an order if it's going through or not and if it's
Okay. I think you're
API
already
calls
from
or
a
not.
IT background. You understand everything. So I think it might be very it would have been a easy journey for you to understand these things. But
Yeah,
for the
not from IT
people,
background though, but my experience have quite that quite
oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay. No worries, no worries.
Wait, what was
But
the original question? I'm sorry.
thank you. Okay. Thank you, Afrin, for the
no problem.
volunteering. Yes.
Thanks.
The question.
Yes, what was the original question?
Okay, so the original question was whatever we discussed today, I want you to go back and whatever you have worked on, and maybe you're currently working on any project or you have worked on the previous project, just try to see, can you find a, correlation between things? Maybe can you see that, if I go back to this typical meeting. Have you seen any of these meeting happening? Like there would be an initial call wherein there will be an introduction. There can be a workshop wherein you want to understand process. Have you seen any meeting wherein there is a testing, they're testing your use cases? I know for non-IT background, you might not see these UAT sessions, but there can be a starting session. There can be a daily meetings when you want to meet with your team and understand what they're doing, right? There can be a meeting with the governance when you want to understand where exactly your project is standing today, right? And at the end, when you complete a project, there is a retrospective meeting where you want to understand what all went well and what is the scope of improvement in the upcoming projects. Just want to visualize these things. It's not, I'm asking you to give me a, for you, I'm not asking said, you give me a deliverable that give me answer to these questions, but I want to do a introspection that in the current project, can you try to find a correlation between these things? And then maybe if you can find all the stakeholders that we discussed, right? There must have been some stakeholders like there will be a client side, there will be a team of your team, developers or QA. If it is from non-IT, then there would be certain people who would be helping you. Maybe if I talk about an marketing agency, then you will be having team of analysts who will be doing some research, providing you the output, and when your manager comes to you, he would expect some output in the, like he will ask you to submit a report, submit a research report. So those becomes your deliverables. So what I am asking you is, it's a mini assignment wherein you want to understand what is your project, and from the project, I want you to see like where exactly is it? Is it like you are doing it? What kind of it is? Small project? Was it for a large? And it's a implementation project, support project. What kind of it is? And then what are all the stakeholders were there, and how the meetings were arranged? Just for you to understand, if because right, I understand you might not, you may not be from IT or non-IT background, but here you will be moving into a IT project. So that you need to do a homework, little homework. Nothing as such that you have to provide me something or you have to share any document with me. Just do an introspection of those things. But going forward, be assured that I will be sharing assignment. I will be expecting you to share a response on those assignments. You will have to do some work, but for the initial these 2 3 sessions, you might be having these small assignment wherein you're not supposed to share anything with me, but do a correlation with your current environment. I think yes, Santosh.
Yeah, so I have a question.
Yes, please.
Can I also include, say, I had an opportunity to work for a brief period on an
Mm-hmm.
application which is a
Mm-hmm.
upgrade. And there is an
Okay.
existing application, but there are
Mm-hmm.
some features to be included, and the functionality needs to be tested, wherein it is a
Mm-hmm.
revision. An application needs to
Mm-hmm.
bring in more functionality. So it is not of like a scratch product or a application being built. It is an existing
Mm-hmm.
one, but the features and functionalities are have to be improved. So would that also fall under this?
Yes.
Okay.
So, to answer your question, I have my very first session when I start ServiceNow administration. So, my first session is on this part only,
Okay.
upgrade.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Thank
So,
you.
you will get your answer there. You're
Okay.
welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Now, I would like to take your questions. I think I need the recording. We'll send you everyone, stakeholder, project managers. Sure. Will we be able to write BRD? Okay. Okay, BRD, I'll share one template with you. And I think it is very easy. If I can share one example with you, how to write those things, and you will be able to perform how to write a BRD. I can share one TOC with you, and you can use that tomorrow. Suppose you are part of a project and you have to deliver, you have to create a BRD. You follow that template, you will be able to complete it. And I can also share it with you from where you want to pick certain information. Okay, so that part is taken care about BRD. And release, okay, release is done. Can we quickly, okay, this is already taken care. This is taken care. Okay. Now I've seen this. I think most of them, all of the questions have been answered. If we still have some questions, please shoot your questions. I am happy to answer your queries. Yes, Afri.
Yes, Nishant. So I have a
Mm-hmm.
question. So I
Mm-hmm.
understood, like, there can be more than one BA in a project depending on the size of the project, if it's a small, medium,
Mm-hmm.
large project.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to
Mm-hmm.
know, like, so if, for example, there is a project and there are two BAs in that project. So how does the
Mm-hmm.
communication happen between them? Like, like they both work together, or like, and they gather like in requirements from the stakeholder, or is the phases like the requirements analysis and the design phases that gets divided? One BA gets the requirement and another does the planning and another gets the design. So do they go hand in hand, or then like is it like it's breaking down among themselves as well?
Okay. Now, suppose I am working, there is a project and there are two PAs. Okay. And there are maybe, I would call, there are 5 modules. Okay. So what you can do is first you want to understand, are those 5 modules starting in parallel, or is it like it is in phase that first client want to work on 2 modules and then he wants to work on other 3 modules? So if he's working on the first 2 modules in the first month, then maybe one BA can take one module, another BA can take another module. And at the same time, you also want to understand who are the stakeholders giving the requirement on those modules, right? For example, there can be one stakeholders who is handling 2 modules, so one BA can be aligned there. Then there is another BA, then there is another client who is handling the 3 modules. Then you can tag another BA there. So it is all about the different combinations, and who is going to work where is all defined by your project manager. So project manager will be putting the resources to the to these modules. But at the same time, BA will also have a choice that, I want to work on this one. There are many combination. Maybe I am working on one of the module which I've already worked on my previous project, so I want to learn something new. So you can tell them that I want to work on this project. So all of those can be figured out with a meeting with the project manager. So nothing to work that this is how it will work. There is no fixed template that you need to follow. It is as per the requirement.
Okay, got it.
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Yep, it does. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. My question is regards to the ServiceNow certified system administrator. Would this course program involve the taking the certification? And if that's the yes, so what resource are you actually providing?
Please pardon me. Can you please repeat your question?
The question is, because this course is focused on ServiceNow. I know that there's a slight difference between core business BA and ServiceNow business analysis. So I'm business analyst. So my question is, from the title of this course is ServiceNow certified system admin. That's the focus of this course. Am I correct?
No, I'll tell you. This course is, if I tell you, this is ServiceNow BA, ServiceNow Business Analyst. In here, we are covering first your admin part, wherein you understand how ServiceNow works. Then we will be taking on to to the core module, that is ITSM. And then I'm also covering how a BA will be, performing the role there, right? So it's not only with admin, it is understanding how ServiceNow works, how ServiceNow work will for a particular module, and how as a BA you would be gathering the requirements in ServiceNow. So it's not just with an admin, but it's a fully focused course on BA. But certainly after you complete this course, you are free to even apply for admin, because we will be doing certain demos, certain assignments, which are very similar in nature for an IT admin. Tomorrow, if there is a ServiceNow admin who is working in a project, so you will see 70 to 80% of the task would be same that a BA would be, or a IT admin would be performing. So you can target those roles as well, but primarily it is a ServiceNow BA course. Hope that answers your question. If not, can you write it in the chat, because your voice is echoing, so not able to hear or complete question.
Oh, okay. It doesn't answer my question completely, but maybe I'm a little bit far from a microphone. Maybe that's why you don't hear me. You don't hear me clearly. But I'll probably send it in as text so you can get the question.
Okay. We can do one thing. Sutish, is it possible like we can connect with Michael later on and try to answer the query from Michael? Because I think I don't know, maybe there's some issue on my end that I'm not able to hear Michael's voice.
Let me see if I can switch my microphone. Let me see if I can switch to.
Okay. Can you write your query in the chat, please?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me clearly? A little bit clearer?
Yes, I'm trying.
Okay,
Please.
you can hear me. The question is, in terms of the certification itself, ServiceNow certified system admin.
Okay. Okay.
The question is, does this program actually provide resources towards getting the actual certification from ServiceNow? That's what I'm asking.
Understood. Yes, not specifically that, but that is part of this course that once you complete, you will be able to write CSA exam and I can guarantee you can pass that exam. Condition applied, you need to follow what I'm telling you. I will be sharing certain questions with you, what all things you need to prepare. If you follow those 2-3 things, I can guarantee you will pass your CSA admin exam. So that is inclusive of this course, but not specifically admin we are focusing. We are focusing everything. So consider that your admin is covered, CSA admin is done. Does that answer your question now?
Yes, it does. It does partly. I'm just trying to get closure in terms of the level of training that this course provide when it comes to getting the advanced experience, or is it fundamental experience when it comes to ServiceNow BA? That's actually my interest because of this specific to ServiceNow. So I want to just be sure to know maybe the level of the training when it comes to the ServiceNow specifically. That's my goal.
Okay. No. Even as a ServiceNow BA, consider that part is actually that part is taken care. That is the primary thing we are doing in this course. So tomorrow, once you complete this course, you will not only have information about ServiceNow, you know how as a BA you will be going. You see, I have just explained these, I have just explained the typical meetings you will be part of, what all you will be doing there. I have already created a template, what you need to do. And I've also already mentioned here, as a BA, what you will be doing. And if you see, I've already explained the different phases, what you will be doing, what you need to do. In design, what you will be doing. Execution, what is it that you have to do? And monitoring and closure, what is it that you need to do? As a BA, what are your responsibility? So in entire course, suppose this is your entire course. This one and then this, right? Just a moment, you will get to know. This is your entire course. Okay, there are many things out of there. My focus will always be there, or any of the project you will go into. That as a ServiceNow BA, what is your input in this project? I'll highlight this. This is what my focus would be. So tomorrow when you are part of a project and as a ServiceNow BA, what is it that you need to do? Suppose you have to complete the initiation phase, you have to complete BRD, FRD, you need to write user story, everything. So all of those responsibilities will be ticked by end of this course. So even you will know that, tomorrow when you are in a project, what are the conflicts? What possible conflicts can you see in a project? That also will be taken care in this course. So be assured, once you complete it, so tomorrow once you are into the project, you are not new to it that, I'm not sure what is going to happen. You will already be having slight idea what you need to do in that particular situation. Okay.
Okay.
I hope it answers your question now.
Okay. It does. I don't want to take the entire time. If anybody will have any other question, you can join in.
No worries. You can.
I was looking through your presentation. I was hoping to maybe see it seemed to me that the analysis that you gave so far focused more on the broad business strategy and processes improvement across an entire organization. It does not really it was not tailored towards the ServiceNow specifics in terms of technical constraints. Yeah, what I mean.
Just to answer that part, Do you see this roadmap? I think maybe you missed in the first session.
Okay.
This is
I
my
missed it.
roadmap is.
Yeah, I missed it.
In my roadmap, first phase, I want to cover BA for the people who do not know BA, and even for person who know BA. This is a quick refresher session. Once this is done, then I'll move to the admin part. Once this is done, then I'll move to the ServiceNow core ITSM. Right. Now, then we will move to your, how exactly you write user stories. This is where it is coming in this agile part. Then I'll also show, ITSM is covered, little bit of ITBM is covered. If tomorrow there is a new module, how you are going to approach that new module as a PA. So that also I'm covering. After this is done, I have 1 or 2 sessions planned here.
I
This
missed it.
is
I missed this part. Thank you.
no problem, no problem, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other question from anyone? Okay. If we do not have any question, then I would ask your feedback. How is it that, do you think I need to include anything else, or is my rate of speech good? You're able to grasp what I'm telling you. You're able to understand what I'm telling you, or any query you're having specific, or anything that you want to see in the next class. Yes, yes, Monica.
Yes, Prashant. So I just want to know quick about these stakeholders and clients and product owners. I'm a little bit confused about it. Can you explain a little bit,
No,
please?
no problem, no problem. So
Yeah.
today's session was more on giving you a high-level project overview. But if I tell you, I have a session plan. My fourth session is completely on the stakeholders. And I'll also share you a template. I can tell you there is a RACI matrix. You know how RACI matrix is applied on stakeholders. What all stakeholders you can expect? As I was explaining you, so these are the terms. You might not be not knowing what is PRDFRD, what is discovery, what is user story. This is all is coming in these upcoming sessions. Agile, you will be covering all these, different types of meetings are there. What is stand-up call, right? And then stakeholders, I will be covering how many stakeholders will be there and what you need to do. And I'll tell you, you will have to create a Excel, a template for yourself whenever you are part of a project. So I'll share those things, on the very first week. I'll share you like 7 or 8 action items that you need to follow. Even if you are a project, first thing is gather all the information about the stakeholders. So I'm covering in the fourth session. Today, I didn't cover anything, to be very honest. It is just I've given you an overview of a project, how a project runs. Now I am picking the pieces of these project in the upcoming sessions.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect.
okay. Any other question from anyone? Which certificates help for this role and market? Okay, Nima, right? So for this, you need to, first part is that you need to do CSA certificate, right? CSA is your ServiceNow CSA exam. So for that, I will be having one session wherein I'll tell you how to write that exam, how to go for that exam. So you can complete that course from there. So that will help you, and that will tell you that you have a good fundamental knowledge about ServiceNow. Rest of the exams, I'll tell you from where and when to take. But for now, for the job, you can take about CSA, and if possible, try to go for Scrum Master. Um, Placements and all that Sudesh will take care. That will happen only after you complete the course and everything, right? About exam, yes, this exam is online. You can go for, there are proctored exam, there are non-proctored exam. So you can you can write exam from your home, or you can go for a proctored wherein you can go to a ServiceNow center and you can write exam there as well. ITSM, ITIL, ITIL, ITSM I'll cover. ITSM is where for ITSM there is a CIS, and I would not recommend you going for CIS, and otherwise you will end up spending a lot of money. CSA is important. If you can cover CSA, that is enough. ITSM you should do once you are into the company, so that company can bear that cost, right? Will this course mainly focus on ServiceNow BA roles? When we look for job, if not, what other roles? Primarily it is for ServiceNow BA roles. Okay. And for other, if you want to target ServiceNow admin, you can target admin as well. Now, there are certain companies who would name it a different, like they might call ServiceNow BA, some will call it ServiceNow BPC, some will call ServiceNow BPA. There, BPA is Business Process Analyst, BPC is Business Process Consultant, BA is Business Analyst. There are ServiceNow Functional Consultant, right? So all of these type of roles you can target. These are similar in nature. Apart from it, you can definitely target ServiceNow admin. Michael, you still have some question?
Yeah, the last question I have is I was not available in your first session. I went to your YouTube channel. I did get some insight, but in terms of the cost, the project cost duration and the fees, could you run through that?
That you can connect with Sutish. Sutish may be able to answer your query, Michael.
Okay, cool then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think we are good with today's session. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a patient listener. We will see you in the next class. Next class is on Friday, same time, 8:30 p.m. So thank you so much. Take good care of yourself. So this, do you have any last words for?
I'm good, Nishant. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. Great audience, wonderful questions. Continue to ask questions. The more questions you ask, the more you're going to learn, the more you're going to unlock, Nishant. That's how trainers work. All right. The more questions you ask, Nishant is going to answer you more, because we want you guys to be confident and clear in this process. And there's one more free, that's the last final complimentary session is on Friday at 8:30 p.m. Continue to come, and we will continue to share our knowledge to you guys. Okay. Have yourself a great night, and see you guys back on Friday. Thank you, Nisha. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you,
Good
everyone.
night.
Thank you,
Good
Sudesh.
night. Good night.
Thank you.